Hello, this is Bill McLaughlin, Superintendent of Beavercreek City Schools. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk to you about a construction project we term Phase 6. This is an opportunity for the district to add needed facilities to our district, such as a preschool, a walkway connector between Beavercreek High School and Ferguson Hall, the 9th grade building, a gymnasium at Shaw Elementary, and athletic storage, scoreboard, dugouts at the new middle school. The reason we are able to do this is due to prudent fiscal management of bond funds, a good bidding climate, and tight specs as we bid out these projects. We have a surplus of just over $5 million that will address these needs. Now, as you know, Ohio school law stipulates that these funds can only be used for bond-related issues. I call those issues bricks and mortar. Can't be used for salary and benefits, can't be used for supplies. Only things with capital life of 5 years or longer, such as facilities. We will fund the projects through the existing surplus of our bonds of just over $5 million and the existing permanent improvement funds we have on hand. No additional funds will be requested from the community for the proposed projects. As I mentioned earlier, the type of projects that we're looking at is a preschool, and as you know, state and federal law mandates that public school districts offer preschool services to children with developmental delays and prepare them for success in school experiences. Beavercreek's preschool serves children with developmental delays and those without delays. Families of children without delays pay tuition to participate in our preschool. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Jeff Parker, Senior Project Manager with SHP Leading Design. He's the architect who designed Jacob Coy Middle School and Trebine Elementary.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. My name is Jeff Parker. I'm the architect with SHP Leading Design, and I've been working with the district for the last several years in the improvements directly related to the bond issue campaign that passed back in 2008. My goal right now is to share with you what we've been up to since the completion of Trebine Elementary School and Coy Middle School. We've recently completed or are about to complete what we refer to as Phase 5. Phase 5 is composed of a new track and football field complex at Coy Middle School, improvements to Main Elementary School. Those improvements were both security and mechanical in nature. They provided a new secure entrance at the office. They provided an improved drop-off sequence at the front of the building, as you've likely noticed. And we've also done a boiler replacement to make that building much more efficient to operate. And finally, the improvements at Parkwood Elementary School. At Parkwood Elementary School, we constructed an office addition, which enabled us to provide secure entry, just like what we've done at all of the other schools in the district. So we have a much more secure entry sequence at that building. In Phase 6, we are about to embark upon. It's composed of four main pieces, and I'm going to walk you through those. They are connector at the Beavercreek High School campus, dugouts and storage facilities at the Coy Middle School campus, a gymnasium addition at Shaw Elementary School, and a new preschool building to serve the district. The first piece of that is the campus connector. You can see here it runs between what is now Ferguson Hall, down along the football stadium and into the main high school building. It's going to enter the main high school building kind of back near where the music wing is. And that is just going to be an open air connector. It'll be a roof with columns. It won't keep you warm or cool, but it will keep you dry, and that's the intent here. The next piece of Phase 6 is baseball and softball improvements at Coy Middle School, specifically dugouts for both softball and baseball, as well as a storage addition. You can see here in the graphic to the far left we have the softball field. We're proposing new dugouts there with storage in the dugouts. Right next to that is the baseball field, again with new dugouts, and then to the far right is the track, which is actually nearing completion, but the orange box there is the storage building. That storage building will house track and field equipment as well as some utilities that will serve the track and football complex. The next piece is the Gymnasium addition at Shaw Elementary School. This is an aerial view of that campus, and the orange block on kind of the bottom of the building is where we are proposing to locate this new gym addition. If we take a little bit closer look, you can see here that not only are we adding a gym, but we're also adding restroom facilities onto the end of what is currently the third grade wing. The nice thing about adding the restrooms as well is that it allows the district the opportunity to open this building after hours or on the weekends for community use, but still have the remainder of the school building secured. So it should be a really nice environment, not only for the community, but also for the staff in this building. From the outside, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Off to the right there, what may appear pink on your screen is the existing building. Don't let the color alarm you. The brick is going to match the original building. But then off to the left, you can see the gymnasium addition. Obviously, being a gym, it needs to be taller. So it's going to be a bit taller than the rest of the building, but we believe it sits back far enough off of the roadway that its scale isn't going to be a problem. We're working hard to kind of make it match the existing facility, as I mentioned. You may recall the entrance to Shaw has a lot of glass and these stone piers, and you can see in the addition that we are using that same kind of vocabulary, these stone piers with these large windows, to really help tie it in to the rest of the campus, make it feel like it's always been there. So that's the Shaw Gymnasium. The next piece, and the most significant piece of Phase 6, is the preschool. The district has decided to proceed with all-day kindergarten. To deliver that, they've got to relocate the preschool from Parkwood Elementary School to make way for those kindergarten students. So when the board began talking about this, the obvious question becomes, where do we put this new preschool? So we began looking at the elementary campuses throughout the district. And the first few we considered were Fairbrook, Maine, and Parkwood. Fairbrook is on the left here. You can see that it has a pretty narrow access point kind of on the northwest corner of the site. Adding preschool to this campus is going to really increase the traffic load on that entry point. So from that perspective, Fairbrook is not a great fit. Also, Fairbrook doesn't have a ton of green space to accommodate a building of this size. In the middle is Maine Elementary School. If you've driven down Dayton Xenia Road, you'll know that this is a very tight campus. There's a lot going on here, and it would be nearly impossible to squeeze a preschool onto this campus. So that one fell off the list pretty quickly as well. Finally, Parkwood. Parkwood is where the preschool exists today, in a couple of mobile classroom units and actually inside the building as well. So you might think, well, this could be a good fit. And that was my initial impression as well. But when we begin looking at things like site circulation, we are adding or continuing a lot of traffic here during the day, and the access to and from this building isn't great, and isn't really able to differentiate those traffic flows so that we have parents kept in a different lane from buses, from staff. Essentially when we think about organizing a site, we want everyone to know where they need to be. So that keeps things clear and organized and avoids confusion and ultimately keeps everyone safe. The other thing at Parkwood is, in the northwest corner here, you'll see that green space. Maybe that would be an option, but there's, as you'll recall, a lot of topography on this site. So that green space actually is downhill quite a bit and is also a retention area for this site. So again, Parkwood kind of slipped off the list as well in that regard. The next site we considered was Valley Elementary School. Valley has some pretty significant green space to the south. And the orange footprint here, that orange rectangle, represents what we would need to accommodate the additional parking as well as the additional square footage of the building. You'll notice when we drop it in here, we really kind of have limited access to the right of the footprint. So we've got a lot of folks coming here. We've got staff, we've got parents twice a day, buses twice a day. Runs the risk of creating a lot of confusion for the site and the site circulation. You'll also notice from a site development perspective, we're having to get into the wooded area on the south end of the campus, which would increase our site development costs significantly. And finally, if we can clear all those hurdles, we're still significantly reducing the green space on this campus. It's always good for these elementary students to be able to get out and run, and putting a preschool here would severely limit that. The next site we considered was Shaw Elementary School, probably perhaps the largest elementary school site in the district. And there are two approaches to a preschool on this campus. One would be an addition. If we look at an addition, this is about the size it would be, this orange box. And you'll recall that we're putting a gymnasium addition on the south end of the building. On the north end, it really doesn't work because there's a lot of utilities, a lot of underground work there. That would be in the way, so a lot of expense there. The other thing to keep in mind is that if we put the addition on the back of the building, our little preschool students have a long way to walk to get to it. And when we consider things like parent drop-off of those students, how are they getting out of their cars through the building to the classroom and back out? So some challenges there with regard to considering this as an addition. The next option would be more of a standalone solution, and this orange box represents that footprint. Doing so would require some significant site development. We'd have to provide a couple of additional driveways to the facility, and also a new electrical service. So there's significant premium there. And also, this again really significantly reduces the green space on this campus. So finally we thought, well, what about putting the preschool at the central office or the admin building? The orange box here represents the footprint that we would need. The nice thing about putting it here is that we're able to use some of the existing space in the Board of Ed office. We've worked to downsize our administrative staff, and that has created some available square footage in that building. So we could use that for a significant savings, making the new building smaller. We're also able to upgrade the existing electrical service, which saves us dollars. We are able to share the main entry drive. We will also be adding an entry drive off of Haynes, but there's savings in that shared entry drive. And finally, there's another benefit is the ease of access here. We're right on this main intersection at Haynes and Kemp. We'll be able to access this site from both streets, making the traffic structure or the traffic flow much easier to manage. One benefit, or another benefit, is the proximity of this preschool building to pupil services. The pupil services department are the people who service this special needs preschool. So being right next door, it's going to save a lot of travel time, a lot of footwork, and really put the kids right where they need to be from a service perspective. And finally, just the location of this site. If you consider where the Beavercreek population is now and where we see the growth occurring on the east side of town, This really becomes a pretty central location for the preschool to be located. So all that being said, we've concluded that the preschool is best sited at the Board of Ed campus. The brown here is the existing Board of Ed building. The purple is the new preschool addition. You'll notice it has kind of a courtyard in the middle. That courtyard is going to be available for play. We'll talk about that a little bit later. On the north side is parent parking and drop-off. I mentioned earlier that it's important that everyone know where they need to go and they have an easy way to get there. So the buses need to be in the right place, parents need to know where to go, staff need to know where to go, and all those should be separated. So we're working to do that here. On the south side is the staff parking and the bus drop-off, so we can get students quickly out of their cars, out of their buses, and right into the building. If we zoom in a little bit on the preschool addition, you can see here in the upper left is where we actually connect to the existing Board of Ed building, and there will be a doorway from the preschool into the pupil services department of the Board of Ed. I mentioned that we have an outdoor learning and play area in this courtyard. The administration was concerned about the safety of students in what you might consider more outdoor or exposed playground locations, so we wanted to take advantage of this courtyard and create the play and learning space in there. The building will also have 9 classrooms. Each classroom will have its own toilet room, as well as direct access to a storage room. This large blue space in the middle is what we call the large motor room. This being a special needs preschool, oftentimes we'll have students who have challenges regarding mobility or just getting around, and this is a place to practice, a place to get more familiar with how your body works, how you move, how you can move better. There's also a separate therapy space for pull-out instruction and testing to provide services or specific services to meet a student's specific needs. Up here in the upper right is the admin or office area, right next to the main parent entrance. And finally, there's this little round story tower on the bottom right, which will help mark and identify the bus entrance on the south side. It's a great place to take your class, kind of huddle up in this room, read a good book. And finally, there's obviously the mechanical spaces that will help this building function from a mechanical and electrical perspective. So that's how the building is organized. You're probably wondering what this really looks like. When the Board of Ed building was constructed, there's a lot of conversation about making it compatible to the community around it, making it fit. So it's got what we would refer to as a lot of residential forms and scale. So we've worked to kind of mimic that with this preschool addition. You can see that we have the steeply sloped roofs. We have the large motor room on the right, has again that hipped gable with the high dormers that kind of bookends the conference room at the Board of Ed building. From a material perspective, we're working hard to work with the palette that's already in place, both with color and materials. So we're going to have brick on the building that will match. The colors will be sympathetic. It should blend in really, really nicely. You can see here, this is kind of a view from that intersection at Haynes and Kemp. As we move in a little closer, the classroom wings come into view, and finally the main student entrance there on the south side. From a schedule perspective, you can see here that our intent is to do the vast majority of this work during the summer. The connector and the dugouts and storage will be completed over the course of the summer. The Shaw Gymnasium, because it's a little larger, is going to kind of have to straddle the summer. So we hope to be starting that soon and completing that in October, November of the fall of next school year. And the preschool, obviously much larger than any of them, is going to take longer to build. So we will be wrapping that up in spring of 2015, ready for occupancy of fall 2015. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was informative. Have a good night.